CBSE Board, Class 11, History, Chapter 4, Part 8, Audio by Renee Matthew. The conditions in which the women and children worked was really poor, and the land owners, especially the capitalist factory owners, always wanted to employ women and children more than anybody else because men never retaliated. So because of that, it was easy for them to employ women and children. And we know that these were employed in large numbers, especially in the cotton textile industry, and women were interested in silk, lacing and all these things. Then we also need to see that the spinning jenny was really used by the children because it will help them to use it in a very friendly manner, especially with their small build and nimble fingers. Because of these reasons, the cotton spinning jenny was very friendly to the children. Now we need to take a look at what were the conditions of the children when they worked in factories. Like, many of them worked in textile factories because they were small enough and it was not very easy to move between the tightly packed machinery. So because of that, it was very difficult to make them move from one place to another. And it was not feasible to make these children work in a big, tightly packed factory where you have a lot of big, humongous machines. And sometimes the children got very exhausted because they were made to work for long number of hours. And that included cleaning of machines, especially on Sundays, which allowed very little fresh air or exercise, and they had to toil for a long time. And sometimes it is so fatal when they caught their hair in machines. Sometimes they crushed their hands. A lot of accidents took place. Some even died when they fell into machines and they did not have enough air inside the factory, which made them sleep from exhaustion. So these things did not, of course, bother the factory managers. They were not even bothered. They just kept on continuing with the work and made work more tedious and more laborious as days went by. What about the coal mines? The coal mines were very dangerous. It was extremely dangerous to work in the coal mines. Sometimes the roofs which were caved could cause a lot of explosion, and injuries were also very common in those days when you had these kind of roofs which was concave. It was caved in that way, and the owners of the coal mines always used children to reach these deep coal phases, and they used to use children to go down into the coal mine and see what is there, or even start mining, because these pathways were very narrow for the adults. So they use the children to use it, okay, to go and just find out what is happening there, or even mine. And sometimes young children worked as trappers. They used to open and shut doors as coal wagons traveled through mines, because it was very narrow. The pathway was very narrow. It was not so spacious. So if they use children as trappers, it will be easy for them to shut and open doors. They don't have to, it will not be a big strain for them to go through these mines. And sometimes even it carried heavy loads of coal on their backs as coal bearers. So children were made to even carry these heavy loads on their back because they never retaliated. It was very easy to hush them up also. So factory managers always trained children, and they felt that the future of the factory depended on the children. So they made them work for a longer number of time. It was very economical for them to use children also. The evidence of the British factory, having these child labor is seen. Okay, it is very clear that half of the factory workers had started work when they were less than 10 years old. When they were less than 10 years old, they started the work. Many children under the age of 10 was found to be working, and 28% of them were under 14 years of age, and nobody was really bothered about all these things. Okay. Now women, of course, they were very happy with the present working conditions in the beginning because they got some financial independence. they didn't have to depend on anybody for financial assistance, and they had this kind of self-esteem also to do the job, to go to the factories, work, and happily come back. They could meet people also. You know what happens when people go for work? You have a kind of good fellowship that you share with your co-workers. But this started changing eventually, because the terms of work became more humiliating as days went by. They endured a lot of hardship, and children were also lost at birth, especially in early childhood, because they were living in squalid urban slums, which was really dirty, and sometimes the industrial work actually forced them to live in these kind of places where it was really dirty. It was not at all favorable to make the children and women first of all live there. It was so squalid. Because of all these reasons, we can see the uprising, the protest movements. Okay, now the early decades of industrialization, I told you that the French Revolution was a revolution which influenced many people all over the world. So the political ideas which was pioneered, which was used during the French Revolution, paved as an example for many people around the world. Because when they have fear, when they are dependent on the government for their food, that is when people don't say anything. Even now we see that. When you work with a company or with any institution, if they are always very intimidating, trying to hush up the wrong that they do, then it is not a good approach. And when people start protesting against it, of course they will hush them up more. But in those days it was not very easy to even talk against the government. Alright, so things were very different then, and French Revolution was the one which paved the way for all these kind of ideas, and people got a lot of ideas from the French Revolution which they started using even in their protest movements. So what happened as a result of that? Political protest against harsh working condition. That is something which the workers could not do with. Okay, the harsh conditions which were given in the factories, it kept on increasing, and the working population kept on becoming agitated, because they did not have the right to vote. All that they did was they did laborers' work from morning till evening, but they did not have any right to anything. They could not represent themselves anywhere. They did not have any voice. Staying in a particular country for a long number of years, they were not able to express themselves also. Then what is the point of being a citizen over there? So that was their question. They wanted the conditions to be better. They also wanted to have the right to vote. Of course, the government did not keep quiet. They also kind of repressed the regressions of the working population by passing new laws. When there was a protest from the working population, what they did? They will pass another new law which will hush them up. And that also denied the people the right to protest. They were not even allowed to protest. It just denied the people the right to protest. So England was at war. Okay, always with France, they were at war for a very long time. The tension between England and France continued. It actually took place. It just went on for a very long time, especially from the 1792 to 1815, and trade was happening between England and Europe. That also got disrupted because of the tension between England and France. Factories were forced to be shut down. Unemployment grew. The price of essential food items like bread, meat, all these things rose up. It started soaring to heights. Nothing went down. And that too, the wages which was paid to these laborers was not sufficient to meet these needs. See, when you don't have all these basic necessities, how can you expect a person to live or continue living in a particular society? So unemployment was there, factories were forced to be shut down, the price of every food material just shot up. Then how do you expect a poor person to strive or even thrive in a society? So Parliament in 1795 passed Combination Acts. That is, they gave freedom for two things. That is, not freedom, they curbed the freedom for two things. That is, they told it was really illegal for any person to express freely through speech or writing. If they write something or even if they speak, they'll be put behind the bars. because that was spreading hatred or contempt against the king, against the constitution or government. And they also banned people from meeting each other, because when people met, that is when ideas sprouted, right? When they used to share a lot of ideas. Of course, we didn't have so much of technology then, so people had to physically meet and then share their ideas, not like now. So more than 50 people, if they meet, they will have a lot of ideas. So that is something which led to the revolt and the protests. So they curbed all that. They stopped the people from speaking. They stopped the people from writing also. Protest nonetheless continued against old corruption. So protest was not stopped as a result of all these combination acts. People were not scared, it just continued. Now what is the meaning of this term, the old corruption? You can see a line here which says, protest nonetheless continued against old corruption. What is this old corruption? Old corruption is the term which is used for privileges. Some of the people from the higher strata of society always enjoyed, they had the privilege, okay, which was linked to the monarchy and parliament. They got all the privileges. So those corruption, they stood against that corruption. So now you know why the government wanted to pass this Combination Act, because their pleasure and everything will be stopped. So members of the parliament, who are the members of the parliament? Landowners, manufacturers, professionals, these three categories, they were opposed to give the working population the right to vote. They strongly opposed, they did not want the working population to have any right to vote. And they also supported the Corn Laws. What is the Corn Law? Like, people got so many things from other places which was really cheap, and the common man bought those things to survive. So it prevented the import of cheaper food. Okay, these people, they banned the importing of cheaper food, because then these local people will not buy what they produce, what the landowners and manufacturers and professional produce. So they banned it, and till the price in Britain was risen to a certain level, they did not encourage people to buy things that were imported. So that was the kind of condition now. Neither will they do anything for the country, or will they allow anybody to survive. So workers flooded both towns and factories. They started expressing their anger, frustration, and in different forms of protest, they started expressing their anger. And there was load of bread or food riots which took place throughout the country, especially from the 1790s onwards. Bread and food riots, and throughout the countries you can see that there was a load of protest which took place. Okay. Now, bread, of course, was a staple diet of the poor. They could only afford to buy bread and not meat sometimes, and its price governed their standard of living. Like, what the people are telling is, if we are not able to buy bread, at least bread, then what is the wage that you are paying us for the laborers' work that we are doing from morning till evening? That was a very genuine question, right? So what was done is, these people who actually continued with the protest, they started seizing the stocks of bread. They got all these stocks of bread. They started selling this bread at a very affordable price, and they said this is morally correct, because when you keep bread in your granaries, after producing the bread, if people are not able to buy it, it will be there in the granaries, nobody will be able to buy it, or in the stock market. So they started selling it at an affordable price to the poor, and that was something which did not, of course, make any profit, but it could satisfy hunger. So such riots were particularly frequent in the worst year of war, 1795, because during the times of war, they did not have enough food. So what these protesters did is, they started distributing the food over the years from 1795, and it continued till 1840s. They did not have any problem with that. It just continued till the 1840s. And such riots, of course, took place only during the worst times of the year, and that is when you had war. Of course, that is what had to be done, and protesters helped in satisfying the hunger of the poor people.